Well, it's time to take a look at another one of these interviews that I did at the Trump South Carolina rally. We're actually circling back with someone you've seen a little bit in the past, and it is what we have labeled in my computer with the clips about him, Trump shirt guy. That's what we've described this individual's interviews as. And this is so wild. And one of the things that happens in this interview is honestly uncommon in interviews with Trump supporters that I've done in the past, but truly off the walls beliefs here. Again, you've likely seen him before if you watched all the past segments, but this one is particularly fascinating. Take a look.
And I believe God is in charge of the whole thing. He's got everybody in the place that he wants them at. He put Trump in there in 2016, and I actually believe that Trump is president right now.
Really?
I do. And he's in control through the military. The military has more power over the federal government and the state government. Military law.
How would you describe kind of as,
they know what happened.
As an observer?
They know what happened during the election.
Gotcha.
I believe they have proof of it.
Okay.
And that will be revealed.
And right now, how would you describe the state of America?
It's not good.
Not good?
It's not good.
And so because Trump's in control, would you blame him for that?
No.
Why not? Why not?
So we have more of this to look at, but Trump's the actual president. The state of the country is not good, and it's not Trump's fault. He's in control through the military. Things aren't going well, but that's not his fault. I don't have an explanation for that. Continuing.
Well, because I think things are getting better. It's going to get better.
Okay.
And I think all this stuff we're talking about, the majority of people are still not awake of what's going on. A lot of people think this is just a United States thing. It's not. I think it's going to happen in 2023. It's going to get worse before it gets better.
And by it, do you mean publicly Trump taking back over as president?
Oh, yes.
And so this is where I start getting confused because I'm not as familiar with what you're talking about, but I'll hear that he's president right now, but the stealing of the election was bad. But how could it have been stolen if he's still president now and he's running for president? But why would he run for a third term if he's still president?
I can't answer that.
Okay.
I don't know how all that works out.
Together. Okay.
But see, that's the point. It doesn't work. It doesn't all fit together because it's not true. And hold, after I finish responding to this, we have one more interview that's short, just a wild part of one other to add on the end of this. But before we get to that, it truly blows my mind that people who exist in the world and are able to go through, do all their normal processes, their operations of their life in, I guess, a fine way, right, can also be able to simultaneously hold in their brain the idea that Trump is president right now, but he's not to blame for the bad things that have happened, but Biden's a really bad president. Already, we're all mixed up there. And the military is in control, which Trump is, the leader of. And again, he's not to blame for anything. But the election was stolen from Trump, and that's why Biden's president, who's doing a bad job. But Trump's real... I don't get it. I don't get it. And it hurts my brain so much to think about. And it's wild because he even admitted, I don't know. By the end, he said, I don't know how all that fits together. And the same gentleman was the one who just kind of went silent in the last interview I did with him and also said, I don't know, to a different question that I had posed. And I don't get how you can't go out and if you're going to believe something that is this away from the norm, far from the norm, and will raise a lot of eyebrows, wouldn't you make sure you double verify the things that you're believing? Because if I heard myself, and there are some things that actually exist in the world that sound wild to come out of one's mouth. And so when I hear something crazy come out of my mouth, even if it's true, that makes me want to double check because it sounds a little bit off the walls. With so many people that I talk about who hold views like the guy you just watched, just a few follow-up questions and it all falls apart, which to me, I can't square because I would think that I would go through those hypothetical follow-up questions in my head before telling people that I believe a view. And clearly many people don't go through those hypothetical follow-up questions. Okay, next quick moment from a different interview that is another example of just the sky is falling beliefs that so many people have right now about the state of our country, and it's sad to see.
All right, what brought you here? What are you hoping to see and hear?
I'm hoping to see the President of the United States, Donald Trump, and I came here because this country is in such bondage, in such demonic oppression. We are heading towards communism.
What?
We need people to be praying for this country, to be praying for the President, Donald Trump, and to pray for people's eyes to be opened to the truth of where our country's heading, because communism is a very real thing. Marxism is a very, very real thing. We have Marxists running our country. We have babies being killed after they're born. We have all of these. They're trying to take away our First Amendment. They're trying to take away our Second Amendment. They're trying to destroy our Constitution.
Pause. Let's do it one bit at a time. So you started off by saying President of the United States. Is that kind of because we love him or because you genuinely believe he's still the president?
Both.
Both. No, but he's not though. And this is okay. 2 final points, and we'll close this out. 2 points to respond here. The first is, I think there's a little bit of a sad phenomenon going on here, where, as we talked about with Kari Lake, a lot of people within the kind of MAGA right are calling Kari Lake Governor Lake in certain circumstances, which is just so strange and a little bit sad. And the analogy I think I used in the past is, imagine someone trying to become a doctor, failing whatever test was the final test or whatever it might be, and then still calling themselves doctor and getting their friends to call them doctor. That would be sad, right? And a similar thing is going on here. Kari Lake lost, being called governor by many people within the MAGA. Trump lost, being called still the president. He's the president of the United States right now. And I get that just saying President Trump is not that odd, because a lot of times your former title will still be used out of respect. But when you ask specifically, is he still the president right now, though, many say yes, but he's not. So it's just this way of kind of showing your love, I guess, in a way that I find very sad. And the second point is the word that I hear so often in a lot of these interviews. And if you go watch the first interview once again and look out for this, you'll definitely notice it, that we did in this segment, the Trump shirt guy. Belief. I believe this, I believe that, I believe this. And I noticed when I talk about my own beliefs or talk about political issues, I'm not saying the word belief over and over and over, or saying I believe. I'll just say this thing is. I'll just state it as a fact if I have the factual evidence behind it. And so I was trying to kind of understand that. And then I definitely came to the conclusion that it's because even somewhere deep down, the Trump shirt guy, for example, understands the views that he has to be, at the end of the day, just founded on a belief and not founded on evidence. And it's not a belief based on evidence. It's just a belief that he's chosen to believe in, and that's enough. The evidence for his belief is the fact that he believes it, if that makes sense. It's the choice that he made that is the reason that it makes sense to believe it. It's not making sure all of the facts connect and make sense and are grounded in reality. And then my question has to be, and I definitely thought of this when I did one of the interviews we've gone over in the past, where it ends, at least the topic we were on, with him saying, well, you can have hope. Because I was asking, why do you still believe all these things when they get proven wrong? And he says, well, you can have hope. So then why would you want to have hope, or why would you want to believe if it is just a choice to believe in it? So many horrible things, like QAnon was the guy I was talking to in that context. Why would you want to hope that that's true? Or the Trump shirt guy, why would you want to hope that the election was stolen and all this different wild stuff took place? And then in the case of the most recent interview we just looked at, why would you want to believe, the United States is in bondage and demonic oppression and all of that? Why would you choose to believe that? And there are many instances of this, I have to believe something that is really scary. I want to make sure that it's backed up by the evidence, so I know that indeed I have to be concerned about that thing, instead of just kind of loosely choosing to believe some horrifying things. So, quick note before we close out on the bonus show, which occurs on Saturdays, and you get access to if you go to patreon.com/Luke Beasley. Ben and I will be talking about the behind the scenes of this particular rally and some things that weren't caught on the cameras, and just some interesting experiences there. So definitely join us, patreon.com/Luke Beasley for the Saturday bonus show.